Rod is silent as we make our way back to the palace gates. I am still thinking about what he said to Fritz earlier. Why would Rod agree to Fritz's request? Because he just wanted him to leave. I stare at Rod's back as he walks in front of me. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he's thinking. Rod! Z! Emmeline beams when she catches sight of us. Are you ready? Rod crosses his arms. He does not look very happy with his sister. Even though Rod is younger, I cannot help but think that he often sounds like the older of the two. I'm busy, Emmeline. I can't keep dropping everything whenever you want to leave the palace. I'm sorry, but I just really needed some fresh air today. You have plenty of fresh air on the palace grounds. I felt I needed to be off the palace grounds. Emmeline's face drops as she looks down at the ground. Rod lends out an exasperated sigh before stepping inside the carriage. Come on. Rod? Just for an hour, okay? Thank you. I soon come to realize that it's easier to walk around town now that everyone has forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the spiteful stares are gone. Princess Emmeline! Oh, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? Emmeline has responded to one of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emmeline speaks with the man. The night escorts hover somewhere nearby, watching for disturbance. We're going to take longer than an hour if she continues like this. I'm not going to rush her. Vision user returns to the palace to continue whatever work it is that you're doing. Rod raises an eyebrow at me. I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. If this makes Emmeline happy, then I'll gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing. Happy? I look more closely at Emmeline. She is smiling, but then she always smiles. I do not understand. She's more at ease talking to the townspeople sometimes because they don't judge her. Why would she have to worry about being judged? It is clear that everyone adores her. Emmeline takes the man's hand in hers as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture. See that? That's goodness. You can learn something from my sister, Z. Is goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers? Emmeline eventually says her goodbyes before walking toward a familiar store. This is a choice shop I visited with Emmeline and Rod before. I glanced at Rod and noticed the expression on his face. He seems conflicted. But why? Before I can ask, Rod marches in front of me and decisively pushes open the door. When I enter, Emily is already hugging the shop girl, Viorica. Emily, you look as beautiful as ever. Oh please, I look the same. You, on the other hand. Emily steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love suits you. When is the wedding? Whoa. When did that happen? Wedding? She's already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eyes and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. Oh, yo, something happening there. Though his expression is as impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders. Oh wait, no, it's a different guy. My bad. I don't know why he's clenching his fist then. Desmond and I haven't set a date yet, but you would be soon, would you? Viorica trails off when she notices the rest of us. Hello, Rod. Viorica. His tone is surprisingly static. Last time he was here, I'm sure he sounded friendly. Did he have a crush on her? And you know. So what can I help you with, Emily? Looking for another doll? Another doll, but Emmeline's not interested in dolls. Oh no, I'm just here to see you. I can't stay for long since Rod has things to do. Emmeline, I'll wait for you outside. Oh, okay. I know it's my job to follow Emily around, but I'm not at all interested in hearing her talk to this girl. Does she even want me here? This is a hard choice right now. Honestly, I don't care to end up with Rod. So probably the option to go outside is like, oh, you get to hang out with Rod. And then stay with Emily, and like maybe I stay here and then he's like, oh, I like that you stayed with my sister and stuff like that. I don't know. But I think I would just pick stay with Emily because I really don't care to end up with him. The options weren't that great, gang. Sorry. Stay with Emily. Before I can decide what I want to do, Emily has turned to look at me with a smile. This is Z. She just started working as my personal maid today. It's not like you to make a maid follow you around. Emmeline's expression quickly becomes apologetic. Sorry, Z. I realized I didn't even ask if you wanted to come with us. I just expected you to tag along. Why is she apologizing? I meant to touch her, regardless of where she is. Unless she dismisses me. I'm sure Z doesn't mind. It's such a beautiful day today, after all. Emily turns to me and smiles. You don't have to wait with me if you don't want to, Z. I won't be long. I wanted to see Viorica for a bit. I haven't been able to see her as often since I've moved. Well, that's to be expected. Princess shouldn't be associating with shop girls like me. Viorica has a point. Why does Emmeline insist on this? But you're my best friend. I am still not accustomed to the fact that I can just visit you every day. Those were the good old days when we were still neighbors. I'd still live next to you if I could. There were all those games of tag we used to play together when we were children. Remember how Rod always lost? The two girls laughed together at the shared memory. I try not to roll my eyes. So they were all childhood friends. Are you sure there's nothing I can help you with? We all turn to the sound of the door chimes as a customer walks in. Excuse me. One moment. Victoria turns to Emmeline with a guilty expression. I'm so sorry, but I have to take this. Oh, no, it's alright. I'll come see you another time. I promise we can talk for as long as you want next time. Emmeline smiles and hugs her friend in farewell. I follow closely behind Emmeline as she exits the shop. Rod pushes away from the wall that he had been leaning against once he notices leaving. Ready to go? Emmeline nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we turn to the palace, everything has fallen. I hope we're not late for dinner. The minute the carriage door opens, we are greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros stand before us. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mithros informed me of your whereabouts. He glances at the knight escorts and the knight shrinks back. Sir Alcaster turns sharply to me, afterwards his eyes narrow. Why is he looking at me like that? Does he know too? It was getting late and the queen was worried. I'm so sorry. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, it's almost time for dinner. Please let me escort you inside. Sir Mithros gestures for them to follow him. I'm about to follow after them when Sir Alcaster suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then he closes it and shakes his head. You are dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters. But this is an order. His gaze is piercing. Even when I was the princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way to the room assigned to me. As I walk down the hall, I notice Rod heading in my direction. Rod? He suddenly grabs my arms and pulls me down the hall. Where are you taking me? Rod does not answer and just continues moving until I reach an unfamiliar door. What is going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger on my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling me in through the door with him. Is he putting me in the dungeons? Dude! This place. I've heard of this place before, but have never seen it. Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Oh, never mind. Rod does not answer me. He simply keeps walking, and I see no other option but the trail after. How is it that you know this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops, and I bump into his back. I stumble back with a scowl. You ask too many questions. I want to... No, I'm sorry. That was too Batman-y. I want to do like a gravelly thing with his voice. For some reason, I can't gravel anymore. Before you refuse to answer any of them, I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound. Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage and makes sneaking out of the palace easier. Parfait? She did not give me any explanation as to how she knew this place. There are only meant to be 2 copies of the keys. The king has one and Sir Alcaster has the other. Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king. I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also has a copy. She saw fit to provide me with a key for my own use. What? How does Parfait have a key to this place? You'll have to ask her that yourself. Once I step in the sound, I realize where it is that we are headed. We are going back to the margin. Delora is the first person we see as soon as we enter the margin. Well, look what the cat dragged in. Delora, you. Rod glares silences me. He steps forward and points at me, gaze icy. She's not staying at the palace. What? Delora raises an eyebrow. Why is Why's that? She works there now. I do not know what games you are playing, but I will not be part of it. Excuse me, this is not a game. I do not want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers. The room's temperature dropped several degrees. Dolores stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion. With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse, doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you would be able to help her. Rod raises an eyebrow. Where is Lady Parfait? Of course, you want to talk to Parfait because she puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you. Dolores curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated, but he does not put a voice to his agitation. Now that we're all alone in this empty room, the silence is deafening. And so I ask him the question that has bothered me since we came. Why do you want me out of the palace? Why do you not want to break your curse? I'm gonna ask him why he doesn't want to break his curse. Why do you not want to break your curse? I don't need to explain myself to you. Do you even know how to break your curse? I do. So why are you not doing anything? It's none of your business. I did not realize the anger inside of me at first, and then I noticed that my hands are and that I'm shaking. You are angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either. Excuse me? I realize that this is the angriest I've ever felt in a long time, and it makes my words fall out of my mouth. You are guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. We are both being cruel to family, aren't we? Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks toward me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line. Are you so fond of telling Emmeline we do not share any blood? The only thing pulling us together is the king, and you do not share his morals. Remember this, Z. You will not be part of my family, and I will never see you as my sister. Is that their way of getting around me? Him being a love interest? Because that's weird. That's fucking weird. Rod storms out of the reception area just as Dolores enters. Sorry, looks like Parfait wasn't in. She pauses and gives me a wily smile. Seems this partnership is going well. I throw my hands up in anger. He is infuriating. Not as jestful as you thought. I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place. All I've been doing today is following around Emmeline, and he still finds reason to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I am making an honest effort to break my curse. Dolores eyes me as she slides down into a chair. Has he told you anything about his curse? Only that he knows how to break it. Dolores sighs. Boys can be so secretive about the silliest things. Rod has been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning. Then why hasn't he broken it? I have no idea. I think the only other person who knows the full terms and conditions of Rod's curse is Parfait. Parfait? Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the march, and even after he gave up on breaking his curse. Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to try finding another way to break his curse. Another way? Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk. I doubt that very much. It seems that all I am doing is convincing Rod that I do not deserve to break my own curse. Dora looks at me curiously for a few minutes and she grins. I have an idea. If it's another terrible idea... Oh no, this one's much better. I want to stick around with you, you know, watch out for you. What? Dolores, watch out for me? She gonna turn into a doll again? Yep, okay. I'm surprised when Dolores suddenly stands before me and her doll. There's no way you and Rod are gonna sort yourselves out without some kind of help, so I'll be tagging along. It's much easier when I'm travel-sized, Why do I feel like she'll only make things worse? Come on then. Dolores somehow manages to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body. Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace. I was saying that chapter went by really fast. Chapter 4, One Step Forward. It has been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the market. He has been avoiding me ever since that day. Not that we have much cause to be around each other nowadays. I'm constantly on my feet preparing for Emmeline's ball. This is ridiculous. Better to be busy than bored, princess. I stopped for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics that I am carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to the designated room so that it can be sorted out. I am being reduced to fetching and carrying, and I have made no progress on accomplishing my first good deed. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel it shuffling in my pocket and then notice Delora peeking her porcelain face out. Better to obey rather than disobey, at least. You're not going to get a good deed being stubborn. Anyway, you gotta put yourself out there before more, princess. You can't just do whatever is convenient for you. That's not good. Delora has been no help at all. Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is? I stop in front of the door to my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I've been ignoring this room, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence. Do you not want to go in? Why should I? It's not as if it's my room anymore. Oh, you're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed? Would I be lying if I said that I wasn't? I guess a little peek would not hurt.